Rivalries. Each year we get to witness a showdown of two athletes, sometimes three, sometimes even more, who are clearing away the class of the field. And with the end of the 2025 season nearing, we have 3 Diamond League meets, 1 Continental World Tour, and less than 30 days till the beginning of the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo. And after the Silesia Diamond League this past weekend, I think we're starting to see many of these rivalries take their final form.
Lyles is done here unless he can come back very strongly, but this is going to be a storming win for world number 1 Jefferson-Wooden. Paulino, has she left it too late? Eating into the ground. Asai Russel, the Olympic champion, in the end gets it. The new world lead, faster than Rye Benjamin. What were you saying, says Warholm. Did you ever doubt me?
And where else to start besides the men's 100 meters? These guys are the closest to actually killing each other out there. On paper, this weekend's matchup was between Kenny Bednarek, who had run 9.79 and has been undefeated across 5 genuinely competitive 100 meter races thus far, versus Kishane Thompson, who had run 9.75 at the Jamaican Champs and has won 11 of his 12 races in 2025. But this race is an example of why on paper should stay that way, because once this gun went off, everyone but Kishane looked lost in the crowd.
Going well is Lyles, coming through Coleman as well. Lyles is done here unless he can come back very strongly. He has, but it's Thompson. Thompson on the line.
Let's get this out of the way. The times were okay, but there's a bigger picture to this race. Not counting the 2 9.7 guys from this year, there was Bromell, Lindsay, Coleman, and Blake, who have also run 9.8. Yet here's Kishane dominantly leading by 20 meters and destroying by 70. And even then, only Lyles, a guy who isn't inside the top 10 fastest men for 2025, could answer back. Just a little too late, which we might also be saying by the end of the season. And real quick, how great is this slow-mo angle? We've discussed before about Kishane's weaker finish. Here, you can visually see how tight Kishane's strides get at the end of his race versus Lyles. But back on topic. After this race, I don't think there'll be much more debate of anyone else but Lyles, Kishane, or Seville as a dark horse for the title this year. Bednarek especially losing a lot of favour this race, and in turn, anyone else who finished behind him at the USA trials. And I'll be honest, while 9.79 at USA's was fantastic, the fact he won by such a small margin, I had a pretty strong feeling this is exactly what a matchup against Kishane would end up looking like. But what's kind of crazy is how much respect Lyles gained from a race he lost. And also, how it just makes sense. We all saw last year, and even the year before that, exactly what Noah is capable of from this exact position. But personally, I'm sticking with my overall prediction of Kishane, although I would love to see Noah pull it off. My sole argument, while the claw back to form is impressive, Noah's times are still rough around the edges. A month out from the Olympics in 2024, he'd run 3 9.8s, and looking back at 2023, he just didn't need to be running that fast to win. Of course, this could all change very soon. In 2 days in Lausanne, we have a Kishane v Lyles matchup again, this time featuring Seville, who based off performances this year, may be the only man left to throw a spanner into the works. Just kidding, Kishane pulled out last second, mid-upload, citing a minor shin injury. Of course this race was too good to be true. Firstly, as a sort of correction to last video, apparently Julian Alfred isn't hurt, but she isn't signed up to be running right now. Don't know if that's mind games or what, especially since the broadcast said this.
By Julian Alfred, who's the Olympic champion at 100, who's harbouring a hamstring injury at the moment, Alfred.
Basically no one knows anything. But my early prediction this year was for Julian Alfred to take the 100 meter title, even after losing in a close battle to Jefferson at the Prefontaine. Because, well, who could have seen this coming a few months ago?
She's got some work to do as she carries Richardson at the moment. She's going way back, but this is going to be a storming win for the world number 1 Jefferson-Wooden.
After this weekend, Melissa Jefferson-Wooden has now run 2 10.6s back to back, while absolutely decimating everyone. I literally just mentioned a couple months ago, because she shocked me with just how well-rounded her race looked against Alfred and Prefontaine, blitzing her from the start, the second fastest 60 meter athlete in history, and Jefferson has proven that this is just her level right now, leading this race in Silesia with Clayton as her only contention for the first 50 meters before burning everyone in the closing 50. It's a real shame Alfred isn't currently running for who knows what reason. I truly believe they'd be running similar times considering their early season showdown. But again, coming back to 2 10.6s for Jefferson, this is more than Sha'Carri Richardson has ever run, and she's the current defending world champion and America's sprinting sweetheart for some reason. And now, she's an entire 0.1 of a second ahead of Alfred's 2025 best. I just didn't see this coming. Jefferson was running 10.7 all over the place in May and June. I thought she was headed to the early peak graveyard, a bit like where Bednarik is currently, who ran blazing fast times at those same early season meets. But Jefferson has defied all odds, and depending on Alfred's form when she returns, it might not even be a rivalry come the World Champs. You also have to consider, Tina Clayton was the Jamaican Championship this year, and she finished 4th in this race, while Tia Clayton, her twin sister, was the only athlete within touching distance at 50 meters, and she isn't even going to be at the World Champs unless she wins the Diamond League final. Shout out to Talou, at age 36, still running genuinely great times and is in medal contention this year, but what the hell continues to go on with Sha'Carri Richardson? Can you believe this is easily her best race this season? She's lucky she had a bye this year, and it's great she's still improving, but as of right now, she is looking to be an absolute non-factor, and even then, a liability to Nike after her recent actions. I gotta admit, after all the noise, my prediction this year is changing to Jefferson. But that's just it, that's my prediction. Who do I want to win? Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. Easiest answer of my life. Sydney Mclaughlin-Levrone is the queen of creating rivalries between athletes she never even races. And after Silesia, calling Paulino vs Naser a rivalry is looking grim. It's really getting comical at this point. Naser runs her races all out from the gun, gambling with her abilities. If her body can hang on, she will run something fast and destructive. It even worked once this year, hence why she is the world leader. But apparently, if Paulino can see you on the home straight, she can hunt you down.
Daylight, Williams also going well. Paulino, has she left it too late? Stride by stride, once again she's done it to perfection. What a run!
Man, it's messed up to say, but if you can't win at this point, leading by this much, the only way to be sure is to shoot her. This isn't the first nor the last time Paulino has done this to Naser, and in the only time Paulino and Mclaughlin race, she did the exact same thing to her. Regardless, the time wasn't anything special today. In fact, Mclaughlin ran significantly faster at the US trials a couple weeks ago. But as a consideration, this is the first time we've seen either athlete on the track for at least a month in the 400, so it's probably their final building block getting ready for the champs. It's also a peculiar circumstance to talk about Mclaughlin versus anyone and not have her as the dead favourite. But that's exactly what this is. She's running the 400, she isn't the favourite. If I had to order them, Paulino has the matchups to prove herself the monster favourite, while Naser has the fastest personal best and the guts to put on an impossible pace and either sink or swim. And in fact, on paper, here we go with on paper again, Mclaughlin is just well out of her depth, over half a second slower than the other two by personal bests. But that's only true because she's never dedicated herself to the 400 meter alone. She's run sub 49 twice, using the 400 meter as a tune-up or a mental escape for destroying Femke Bol year after year. Pretty clearly, my prediction is Paulino to win, while Mclaughlin and Naser scrap it for second. But if I had to choose who I wanted to win, Femke Bol to run the 400 as well and use that world record indoor speed on the flat. That shit would sell out the stadium on its own. This by definition is still a rivalry. The women's 100 meter hurdles has been a booming economy for some time now, and this weekend in Silesia was a profound example of that. Lined up, we have the current world record holder and 2022 world champion, second fastest in history and Olympic champ, ex-world record holder, and ex-two-time world champion. Additionally, out of nowhere, Nadine Visser, who's not even a top 10 fastest in the world this year, just ran a 12.24 in the heats. And yeah, that's right, there were heats because of how many fast women there are right now in this event. Yet, Masai Russel continues her clinic from the middle lane, working her lead the entire time, pressured by Visser breathing down her neck.
Arch on Masai Russel, but coming through also nicely is Tonya Marshall as well. Oh my goodness me, it's going to be Masai Russel who gets it on the line.
But she's the one to hold composure and comes home in 12:19. This equaling the third fastest time ever, making her the only female hurdler in history to run under 12.2 seconds twice. And to make winning this even more impressive, as a collective, this was the fastest 100 meter hurdle race we've ever seen. 3 women under 12.3 hasn't ever been done before. And funnily enough, it's not like it was the other killers out there running mad times. In second was Tonya Marshall, who didn't even make Team USA this year, placing 5th at trials. She's now the 7th fastest woman ever. And then to be fair, it was Toby Amusan in 3rd place. But that still doesn't even mention that Nadine Visser was neck and neck with Russel, even edging ahead at the 6th hurdle before hitting the 7th hard and tanking her race. Who knows what she could have ran minus this error? Well, you'll get to find out in 2 days' time in a rematch in Lausanne. My bet is probably 12.2 mid if the conditions are good. If I haven't made it clear, Russel is my undoubted prediction for first. But over who on that podium? I could not tell you. I just want to see the fastest, scrappiest, most outrageous final imaginable. Karsten Warholm's last races were 2 months ago, one being a powerful 300 meter hurdle world record, crushing Rai Benjamin in the process, before airing out his weakness 2 days later, fizzling out in a 400 meter hurdle race, coming third behind both Dos Santos and Benjamin. But in Silesia this weekend, he managed to put both power and endurance together. Starting his race similar to Naser, crushing on the back straight, but actually holding on with his monstrous strides into 46.28 seconds.
All the way, Samba surely has got too much to do. Some pressure for second there, but let's keep an eye on the clock. The meeting record has gone.
That's a message sent if I've ever seen one. That's the second fastest time since his world record in Tokyo 2021, and the third fastest time ever in fact, only slower than the 2 times ran in Tokyo 2021. It seems Warholm has had the yips the last year or so. He hasn't managed to beat Rai in their last 4 matchups over the real race. But if that 300 hurdle world record earlier this year was a threat, perhaps a failed one at that, this was a full-blown attack. Considering we're headed to the same stadium that unimaginable world record was ran, with this form, we might see the second sub 46 ever. Those Puma spikes just have something to them, you know? And lastly, not really a rivalry, but the men's high jump is finally seeing movement. Hamish Kerr kind of bummed out at 224 a week ago in a street meet in Germany, but I noticed he was looking really effortlessly poppy at lower heights. Just his run up was looking a little sluggish the moment the bar went up. And well, I like to think I was onto something, because at Silesia, taking all 3 attempts, he finally got over 2.0 meters for the win.
Hamish Kerr, third attempt at 230 and goes clear.
3 attempts being a reoccurring pattern for the heart attack man, but afterwards his penance, first try, now 233.
Already got it won with that third time clearance at 230, and he goes clear at 233.
Seems to be peaking into form at the right time, while Doroshuk and Wu, who I'd say would be his biggest rivals this year, didn't jump well or are out with minor injuries. And dear God, don't ask me how Tamberi's doing. Also, funnily enough in Japan, we saw the same height cleared by Seko Yuto at a low-key but really elite and competitive meet. And look how monstrous this jump looks. One day I'll have to unpack just how good Japanese high jumping is, but Yuto is relatively short, for a high jumper at least, reportedly 180 centimeters tall, so that's 53 centimeters clearance over his own head if he was standing straight. Before anyone types it, sorry I didn't cover distance this week. If you do want more distance, please go check out Adam Jantz's channel. I can guarantee you he covered Kipyegon's near world record in 3K, Hodgkinson's ridiculous 154 comeback after a stupid year off, and Nagusa's strategic changeup after a devastating loss at the US trials. Bye bye.